If you were Musama and you now have the ability to recreate the Mother Flame and use the Mother Flame to power Uranus more frequently, what would your next target be? Chapter 1115 provides us with the context to understand how the final war in One Piece will kick off. This was the perfect follow-up chapter to 1114 because previously we didn't really get a lot of info outside of the fact that Joy Boy was born in the Ancient Kingdom. Although it felt really tense due to the reactions from the Gorosei, it didn't really do too much to move the needle. This chapter, however, provides the context needed for us to understand which characters are going to take what actions moving forward. But before I get to that, I want to kind of touch on the characterization of VegaPunk's sins. When I first kind of read them in chapter 1114, I didn't really understand why he was characterizing them as sins, but now I do. Those two actions, I think, are being characterized as sins because they will result in. The first sin, flying too close to the sun, is a sin because essentially VegaPunk has recreated the necessary energy source that Mew and the world government needs to power the ancient weapon Uranus. We all know that Uranus is going to be used again to destroy islands and ultimately continue to increase the sea level. That's definitely, I would characterize as a sin. And VegaPunk's second sin, which I think was done in part to help mitigate the results from his first sin, reading the poneglyphs and deciphering the information there, ultimately is what is resulting in his. So, from different actions. I think it's important to highlight that the broadcast now is not really a broadcast, but this is a warning. And I think VegaPunk felt the need to provide this warning because all the potential that are going to happen at a much higher magnitude and scale is due to him recreating the Mother Flame for Mew. This is confirmed with the final panel where we understand that the war is still ongoing. Now for the next kind of portion of this discussion, I want to do a little bit of like a Q&A type of format. I'm just going to throw out a question and see if I have the answer, and let me know what you guys think. But before then, if you're new to the channel, I recommend you hit the like button and subscribe for more anime analytics content. So the first question I think we get some nice answers to is, where did Skypeans get that technology? We can almost pretty much now confirm that any advanced technology we've seen in the world of One Piece comes from the Ancient Kingdom. The next question I have is, what is going to be the motivation for Momonosuke to open up the borders of Wano? This cover story and the fact that we see Momonosuke talking about Joy Boy really got me thinking about that, right? He didn't do it at the end of Wano because it wasn't time yet, but there's got to be some triggering event. Most likely will be associated with Luffy, something happening somewhere else since they're getting this broadcast. But after the revelation that the world that everyone is currently living in is fragments of the old continents, we are confirmed to understand that the fragments of country in Wano are fragments from countries present during the Void Century. They were brought together by the Continent Puller, and the Continent Puller, I don't know why, but now I'm starting to think, was that Joy Boy? TBD. But yeah, so motivation for opening up the borders. This is kind of going to lead me into the next question. If you were Musama and you now have the ability to recreate the Mother Flame and use the Mother Flame to power Uranus more frequently, what would your next target be? Would it be another island that the flames of rebellion have been stoked in? Or would it be a more strategic value play. Because I don't think we're going to see Ernest kind of going crazy and zapping many countries. I could see it being used like 2, 3, 4 more times before something happens and it's eventually destroyed. And if I was Mew, I would go the strategic route. And some of the dialogue that we've gotten through the chapters and the showing of Wano right now, I feel like I would either go after Wano because that's where Pluton is. Like, think about it. The best way to get and attack Wano is by air. And if you're Mew and you know they have Pluton but they haven't activated it yet, maybe you go and you try to do that. If you were Mew and you could take out an old enemy, which was an ally of Wano, as well as an ancient weapon, would you do it? It makes us think, why do we have blueprints of Pluton if we know where Pluton is? Pluton hasn't been activated yet. But if it were destroyed and we needed to recreate that technology, we can do that thanks to Frankie. So that got me thinking a little about that. And the other option I thought was maybe Elbaf, right? Elbaf is known to have probably the most formidable army in the world. These are also probably allies of Joy Boy and the Ancient Kingdom. And we can see the conflict right now between Topman, his comments towards Dory and Bragi. And I also think it would be pretty powerful for the Straw Hats to kind of witness firsthand the devastation that Ernest can cause. I don't know how that would exactly work out timeline-wise, like if they were leaving and they saw it got blasted away, something like that, but those would be my 2 targets if I was Mew. Next question I want to ask is, where is Big News Morgans and Vivi heading? I really hope they're not heading towards Egghead, right? So many chapters back, Big News Morgans, he said that, that place is probably in flames due to the Buster Call, but now that we know that the broadcast is still going on, they probably understand that it's not in flames. And given the situation that the Gorosei are in, right, they're all on Egghead. Obviously, they're trying to take out all the life forms, which I have a feeling they may fail, but I can't see Oda writing the story with them continuing to fail. So one thing that they were tasked with was to retrieve Vivi. It would be very convenient for them if, after the midst of all this, Big News Morgans, Vivi, and Wapol are kind of surveying the area. It'd be a perfect opportunity for them to capture Vivi, bring Vivi to Mew-sama. Wapol, Big News probably survive somehow, relay that information to Luffy, and that's what causes the final war at Mary Joie. And we'll also see Pluton be used to destroy the Red Line. We all know the Red Line needs to be destroyed. The Red Line was built for separation, which is the main difference of ideology causing the final war. So using the ancient weapon to destroy the Red Line, which enables unity, which is a defining factor. Unity and freedom, I would say, are some of the defining factors of Luffy as a pirate. And that also ties into Luffy's dream of, most likely, Luffy's dream of wanting to have a party with the whole world. So those are kind of the questions and answers I see shaping the final war and essentially the main conflict for the remainder of the story. Of course, we're going to have other pirates and conflicts appear, but yeah, that's where my mind was at after reading chapter 1115. I think the next chapter is probably going to be the end of the broadcast, and we'll probably be in store for a break. But I thought that was an amazing chapter to read. Let me know what you guys think, and until next time, Taicho out.